countries and a lot of ethnic, racial, religion, tension, and political party. The vast majority of the population of Indonesia is very diverse, and Indonesia has thousands of ethnies. Within these thousands of ethnies, there's no historical data that show a non-Japanese get in power as Indonesian leader. Doesn't mean that majority in Indonesia doesn't have a voice to choose the leader based on their own race, religion, or ethnicity, racial, religion, tension, and preference. Because of there is a lot of ethnies in Indonesia, a lot of people always choose the same ethnies as them, and in Indonesia also have no other leader with another religion that sorry. In Indonesia, the majority of the religion in minority religion is Islam, Muslim, and in the history of Indonesia, there's no another religion leader, and maybe that's because the undang-undang that doesn't able the another religion to be the leader of Indonesia, because of the Indonesia have more Islam, Muslim than another religious, and the ethnic of leader, Indonesian leader, always the Japanese people. That's why, because our capital city is in Jakarta, and Jakarta is in Java. That's also a lot of people always choose their own ethnic people to be their leader, because they know the Java people, how Java people work do, and because there is their people, there's their people, and with the political party, the most leader of the political party is Japanese people. That's why like PDI already lead the Indonesia almost 10 years from now on, and most people in that party is Japanese people, and the majority of people have to come back to their own ethnic again. So another ethnic have no chance to be a leader or be a chosen, because the most people in Indonesia is Java, and another ethnic also choose the Japanese people because it's already from dari awal tahun pertama, that's already the Japanese people with the Indonesia. So another ethnic already feels like, oh, maybe we choose the Japanese people to be a leader because this year has been there to lead the Indonesia. So
you said that Indonesian people keep choosing the same leader from which is like Japanese, but isn't that because they know the best people in Japanese, so they can choose the best leader from the Japanese people, because they're already very familiar with Japanese people, so they can choose the best leader.
We all of us are familiar to Japanese people because already with us for years. And why don't we choose another ethnic to know and to know them? Like we always choose Japanese, so that's why we familiar with Japanese. So why don't we choose the Batak to know the Batak, to familiar with the Batak? And why don't we choose another ethnic to know and to familiarize the ethnic?
Yeah.
How about how he is not Japanese? Why is he president?
Habibie is not Japanese. Yeah, he is not Japanese. But the Japanese did Indonesia already from Megawati. Yeah, I mean the Japanese did mungkin sebelum Habibie, setelah Habibie.
Yeah, very fine. Yes.
You say that Indonesia's president has long been, from the start, it has been Japanese. But how about Habibie, the first president of Indonesia? He's not Japanese. He's not Japanese. He's not Japanese. He's from Sulawesi Selatan. To this aspect, it's Gorontalo. So, what you say about it?
I would say these days people choose Japanese because I know Habibie is not Japanese. They choose them because maybe karena kita kenal pengalaman dia. And yang di sini saya bahas bukan siapa yang jadi presiden, yang jadi suku Jawa, bukan. I mean, people choose Japanese because dari kepemimpinan PDI itu udah Japanese.
Okay, baik. Okay, who's the first speaker for the opposition? Yes, stand in the middle. Let's go.
So I'm from the opening opposition team. So for us, suddenly changing the person in charge of the government can cause a lot of problems, especially if they have ruled the government for so long. It means they have the habit. They know the people. They have the what we say pengalaman and stuff. And suddenly changing that just because we don't want the same ethnic to rule our country, let the minority lead us. But if the minority don't have the ability, don't have the what we say pengalaman, experience, doesn't have the experience to rule the country, then do you think that the country gonna lead more smoother than it's already been? I think it will get worse, even worse, because it's just like a playtime. We try this, we try that, hope it worked, hope that worked. It's only making worse. Let's say, let's take an example in Myanmar. At the February 2021, they changed the government suddenly because of the erosions from the people. And what happened? People are angry. They split into two groups, one supporting the past governments and the other supporting the current governments. The current governments can do what? The older governments can just watch. They don't have the authority to change the rules again. So until now, in Myanmar, the governments are still not stable enough because of the change of the new government. Secondly, the parties that currently ruling may not perfect. They might have some problems happening, but they help keep the peace by trying to include everyone. If you cannot make it better, then don't make it worse. Right? If you change it, you just try things that doesn't have the certainty will be making better choices, making better future. Let's take example at Malaysia. People don't like their governance because it's from a kingdom, right? So from the father to their sons and from their grandsons, they don't like it. But what? Let's take a guess. The countries are going smoothly without any problems that the news has informed us. Like we have heard that Zimbabwe, Myanmar and stuff, but we doesn't heard about Malaysia. In fact, they hate the government. It's from family to family, but they're doing all right. So that's what I mean. Why should we change if they keep the peace in take? The new politics rules that come up suddenly might not know how to deal with all. This difficult group peacefully, this different group can cause commotions that even can lead to economic crisis and others. I think that's all for me.
Okay. DPI from the judge. And DPI from the audience. Yeah? Go.
So you mentioned the habit. So do we need to develop our habit or fix them? We talk about the habit of the political parties. Can you repeat? So you say that there is a habit for the political parties, right? Do we need to develop the habit or fix the habit for the political parties?
I mean, fixing the habits is the problem. To fix a habit, you have to try many things. And try things can make things even worse. It's not about just our personal problem, it's about the country problems. And I think doing things that don't have certainty of successfulness isn't a right choice to do as a government, of course. Yes?
Yeah.
So you think that the changing of governments before Indonesia was independent and before? If you said that it was just a trial and we have no experience, we're just a newly independent country. But for me, it's better if you were trying than not doing anything. And if you stay with your arguments, then what I see is you prefer that Indonesia is still the colony of the Netherlands or Japan. Because you cannot accept the change of pace.
Change of pace is indeed are important, but the thing is, you want to change its governance with other ethnic that doesn't have rule for so long. In fact, Indonesians are currently led by who is the leader, or Meriyanti, who is having the president from the past. So she do has the experience that she can share with the current president. So let's take a look. So the current president takes the advice from the previous president. Doesn't it make any sense? So he learned from the past. He not trying things. He listens to the advice from the past. He doesn't try things as just because he like it. She thinks it's work. He try no. He listens from the past. No thinking.
Yeah, it's already 6 minutes. Hi. All right. Now let us welcome the second speaker of the opening government. I No, even if it's shit, it's better than shit. Yeah. Shit is better than Alright.
So, as we can see, there's a lot of ministry and official that is chosen by ethnic and there's conflict between ethnical and between two or more ethnic groups. It may be political and social, economics and religious. As it's not always about the ethnic. It can be religious also. As we can see, like most of the ministry in Indonesia or other official in Indonesia, that most of them is a Muslim, right? And ministry in Indonesia it is also promoting inclusivity and developing countries with a history of ethnic religions. Fostering economic development is also one of in political parties, and it is also a new political. It can be new political leadership can bring innovation to economic development. Because if we choose the new political parties, we can see how they develop to our country, how they include in our country, how they work. If we never know how they work, so if we talk about the opportunities they never get from before the ministry, how can we get the opportunities when we don't have the chance to get the opportunities? Like, you can get the opportunity from the start, but when you want the opportunities, but it requires you to have opportunities. Is it crucial? And you never know whether it's getting worse or better when you never have a different political leadership, right?
Yeah. I would say opportunities there. That opportunities doesn't mean that you have to be the top, right? Not only to be president. How about Ahok is not from Muslim, but he do in the government. He given opportunity to prove himself. So what's the point? If they doesn't give an opportunity, how they can prove themselves?
No, I mean that the opportunities can be get from the start. Not even they don't have opportunities, they cannot be the political parties. They cannot be put in political parties when they don't have opportunities.
Yeah, continue.
And also, a dominant political parties can be lead to inefficiency and corruption, where it can be a fresh perspective for the government with improving and efficiency and effectiveness of the political system when it's new from different dominant political parties.
Okay, any more QI?
You keep mentioning about majority ethnic and religious is leading our dominant political parties is leading our country. Does that mean one ethnic or religious that dominant political parties cannot lead other religious or ethnic?
No, I mean that we need to have a fresh start of the government because we never really have different political parties. So it doesn't mean that we cannot choose the same political parties like from the ethnic, religious, everything like that.
Okay. Just waiting. Huh? Do you still want to accept your eyes? Oh, okay. Yeah.
So like my partner has said, the politics is not a playground. As you keep mentioning about, so as my team has said, that politics is not like a playground. As we have said, like keep saying about opportunities and innovation and development. But what if the innovation they make is even worse than what's already been preserved since long before?
How do you know it's getting worse or better when you never tried the new one? You never. How do you know it's getting better or worse?
But my question is like, what if it's getting worse if the innovation is not live up to the expectation, right? And also like it causes disaster. Like I mean, like people are splitting, or there's a group, and there's like no unity anymore. Like what if the innovation is not accepted by anyone or like by majority of the people?
So if maybe you say that if we choose the same like dominant political parties, there's no crucial like something accident like that also. There must be an accident and like closing us from the different choice. There's plus and minus.
Okay. So you slide. Okay, now for the second speaker of the opposition, let's welcome Firman. Yeah.
Experiences of power from dominant political parties. Sometimes suddenly changing who is in power can make things worse. Imagine if we just suddenly replace the main political parties in charge, it could be upset the way things are and might even cause fighting between different groups. So I think if the dominant political will lead the country in the right way, maybe they do based on the law. So I think if they lead the country good, itu dia masih di dalam undang-undang itu. Karena mereka punya peraturan, because we have the rule, right? So I think let them continue. Yeah. So and then I want to mention that, like Sanni said, we're talking about ethnic or race, religion, because in our country the majority is Muslim, right? And also in our history of the president, maybe a few of them from Japanese, because I think in fact Japanese is the most society in Indonesia. So they are a big island. So because in our law they don't want another ethnic or another religious to be a leader, because di Indonesia mereka tidak melarang agama lain. At least they trust in God. Yeah. So our law is not want them, give them a chance, but in fact in our politics they have the requirement, because at the end it depends from the society, because they choose what they want. But in fact also in Indonesia the majority is Muslim. So maybe if, let's say we give a chance for maybe a Christian, maybe take a simple Christian, but so we have a candidate, maybe some are from the Muslim, some from the Christian, but in fact in Indonesia the majority is Muslim, so they choose the person is relatable from them. Yeah, I think that's all.
Okay, and Joy? You feel? What you feel?
What do you think about politicians that are elected that are non-Japanese ethnics that are from to vote on them? What do you think? People who vote on non-ethnics, like the minorities, like in this case it's Chinese, right? Let's say we have a political government, then somebody elected a Chinese, and it's being formed to vote on them by Indonesians themselves, by the natives. What do you think about that?
Sorry,
You're asking about the voters or the candidate?
The voters.
Oh, the voters.
They're being formed upon.
Oh, yeah. For example, this guy vote. What do you think?
Yeah, because it depends from the society, right? So maybe the vote maybe from the person maybe only the vote on the Chinese or maybe the another ethnic maybe only sedikit lah dari suaranya gitu. Dari yang because the majority in fact Muslim is I don't know how much percent in Indonesia.
95.
Around there.
Anyone else feel like? Yeah, go.
So if there is a very capable person, such as maybe Eric Rohier or maybe Mr. Andeka, but they are from a minority race and they cannot be elected because they will have no voice. Even though they are very capable at being lead this country to a good shape, do you think that they don't have the chance just because they are not the majority race is fair? And is it good for the country?
Yes, but because the election because depend on the vote, right? I think so. Okay, maybe you say the vote or electorate. There's a good percent, so maybe they capable person to lead this country, right? Yeah, but depend on the vote because there is a fair election. Yeah. You get it? Yeah, depend on because the society knows who is the best, who is the can lead the country, right?
High trust in voters.
All voters are being
VIP vote. Good.
I said voice vote, right?
Yeah, already 6 minutes. Thank you very much. Okay, now who's the first speaker of the closing government? Surya.
Embracing a power in development countries with a history of ethnic, racial, and religious tensions is not just a political transition, but a strategic move towards unity, representation, and sustainable stability. By breaking the stronghold of dominant political parties, we pave the way for a more inclusive and resilient future. By dismantling the entrance influence of dominant political parties, we are not only facilitating a more inclusive political landscape, but also addressing a deep-seated historical grievance. This transformation shift opens avenues for diverse voices to be heard, reducing polarization and laying the groundwork for a governance structure that genuinely reflects the multifaceted nature of those societies. Like in Indonesia, there's a lot of ethnic, racial, and religious tensions. There's a lot of cases that the majority always hold the most power, like the opening government say, from the religious, we can see that the majority is Muslim, and there's never been a president that are non-Muslim. it's lucky if the president knows how to balance himself so that the minority won't feel excluded. But what if there's a president who won't care about the minorities? For example, how the previous president never paid attention of the East Indonesia or Papua. From the first president until the sixth president, they never paid attention to the East Indonesia until Jokowi becomes the president. So even if most of our president is from the political party named PDIP, like even if they're big, but it won't gak bisa meyakinkan kalau they will bring prosperity to our countries. Even if like maybe in Jakarta, our main city, they feel like we have teknologi yang maju, semuanya bagus, but like the East Indonesia, they didn't get anything from the main city.
Any POI from the opposition? No POIs?
Wait a minute.
Okay, no POI first.
Okay, let's take a case study of Timor-Leste, which decided to separate from Indonesia and its governance and decided to look upon a new governance. And we can see how it quickly built up debts and quickly failed in infrastructures. What do you think of it?
Can I have time to think?
Yes.
Ya. Boleh tembak POI lagi.
Okay, from this case, we can see that Timor-Leste wants to make a chance for its own and create its own country. But
Oh, bilang aja my partner will answer you.
okay, my partner. Thank you, sir.
Okay, and then next.
Just continue.
No, I mean, yeah.
Any POI?
No? Oh, okay. Do you want to continue or you're done?
I'm done.
Okay.
I quit.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Okay, now for the first speaker of. Okay, for the first speaker of the coalition. I don't start then, I guess. Let's start.
So this house believes that there is no need for a change of the power from the dominant political parties because, as we keep saying, it's not relevant as there isn't any problem of dominant political parties leading our country. So all of the ethnic, racial, and religious tension that happened before, all is in the past, and we are talking about developing a new country. So it doesn't really matter whether it's a dominant political parties or it's a new political parties, but dominant political parties may have more experience because they have a stronger bond and they are usually have more connection and they have the experience to lead our country. So we can take an example of ethnics. If you are saying that one ethnic cannot, we are saying that one ethnic also can lead other ethnics. Take the example of Gus Dur. Gus Dur is not really a Chinese, but I mean Yeah, but Gus Dur make a lot of policies that help Chinese, like we can start learning Chinese and everything, and we can start celebrating Chinese New Year, and so there's still a lot of things that we are grateful for it. So this is an example of it's really dominant political parties and one ethnic also can lead other ethnics, and it's work the same for religious and it work the same for racial also. So it doesn't mean that one racial or one ethnic cannot lead other racial ethnics. Then we can take an example of China too, because China is technically they have one dominant political parties and the only one. And yeah, we can see China keep developing into a big country, and the economic growth also very good, and it doesn't really have any problem in terms of it. A new political party also does not guarantee a better idea of a better or giving a better solution. And we are living in a country, democratic country, so everything is based on our choice. But technically, sometimes when majority leads our country, it doesn't mean that. It's the best choice, because most of the majority is they are ethnics, and maybe they can understand them more. But in the other side, this ethnic also still can lead other ethnics, so it doesn't really have any problem on it.
Democracy. Communism and the governance is okay. In the wealth. Yeah.
Essentially, it's like our.
But you need to look at the non-corrupt. Yeah, up to you. Nothing else? Go.
Okay, so you have stated in your case that Gus Dur had provided a lot of policies that have increased the welfare and life quality for Chinese Indonesians or any other ethnic minorities. But what you're essentially saying is that we cannot hope to have a person in the government, but we can only hope that the majority in the government can listen to the minorities. Thank you. Kita harus berharap orang mayoritas yang dalam di dunia politik ini mau mendengar orang minoritas.
Pay attention to minority.
Okay. So technically, we take an example of Indonesia. So we are a diversity country, and we cannot choose where we want to stay or where we want to live most of the time. So and our leader is the majority choices. So
Yeah.
Exactly, it's the majority.
My partner will answer you. Yes, okay, thank you very much. For the final speaker from the government side. They already did, but
Okay, first of all, let me answer the POI Timor-Leste doesn't have a clear objective, and they're being trapped in the process of their independence. Why? Because there's a certain country that promises them independence and support their independence very clearly. And while they're at it, they just dig all of their resources. So at the time they are independent, they will have no more resources. But Timor-Leste has no other option because they have no objective at all. That's why they take the offer and get their pick. And another statement I want to revise is Habibie was never chosen by the people. He was the vice president of Suharto, and when President Suharto fell from his power, automatically, naturally, he will continue as a president, even though for only like 1 or 2 years before he got changed with Kusuma. Yeah. So, as we all mentioned earlier, there are vast amount of race in Indonesia. Moreover, in the whole world. But even in Indonesia, the minority race, religions, or ethnics are never reported to have held any power in the presidency. Because minority they have no power, even though they are capable of managing this country and making this country a better country than it is. But people are not objective. They didn't see who is good and who is not good. Just as long as you're the same ethnicity, you're the same religion, and you're the same race as me, then I will choose you. Just because of that, including the minority itself. Many minorities, I see that. For example, I'm Chinese, then I can see the Chinese point of view very clearly. I'm Chinese, and the one whom they choose will also be Chinese. And when I ask why, they will just answer, "Oh, because he's Chinese. You're Chinese, you should pick him." Why? And that's a local issue. But I do think that a better people should be elected. And let's change our point of view to global viewpoint. For the past few centuries, white people has been in control of the world. Let's see, from the 16th to 19th century, colonization is all over the world. Isn't it kind of like dictatorship? How can white people rule the world for such a long time? Just because there are no opposing team that are strong enough as them. So, if a party held in power in a very long time, then they will kind of sort of lose their own minds. They will start colonizing, and they will make others suffer, even though maybe they didn't notice it by themselves. And even until now, white people still see how the Americans, the USA, the Europeans, they put a double standard on us. For example, in the war between Israel and Hamas, when Israel attacked Hamas, then there will be no violation of human rights. But if a non-bloc country like us, we have a teeny war with separatists, they will consider it as a violation of human rights. Because they put the double standard, and for them, all of their decisions are the right decision because they held in power, and nobody will be brave enough to oppose them because of one single race, the white people. And not having different leaders in certain periods. Let's go back to Indonesia. We can see in the Orde Baru era, Suharto ruled for like 30-something years. Where did Indonesia go to? Nowhere. They're just walking in the treadmill. Yes, we do have a swasembada pangan program, and it can work, but economically, Indonesia get prosperous? Any progress in there? I don't think so. And we can also see that, so because Suharto is a dictator, then all of this nation, a lot of this nation wealth goes straight into his pockets and his family's pockets. Because one single person rules the nation for a very long time, too long. And if we discuss China, yes, indeed China is a very powerful country, even though the government is communist and the president is dictator. But the government has no shield. We can see that in China we don't have freedom of speech, we don't have the freedom to use the internet, we don't even have the freedom to watch our favorite show, the original one, because they will censor everything out, they will pick what you want to see and what you don't want to see. Even Jack Ma is now goner. Where did Jack Ma go? I don't know, missing from this world. Silent by the government. So, even though the people are guaranteed to be prosperous, but they are leashed by the government. No freedom of speech and such. So, does the people make any difference? They just pet for the government. That's it. Enjoy.
Nice. Right? Yeah, 6:45.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, for the final speaker of the opposition team, let's welcome Jeslin.
Okay, so first you said that Chinese people in Chinese country, they have like communism, and they censor out what they don't want their people to see. But like that's Chinese. But what happens if the government already is being fair to all people, and suddenly there's change to the government, and then the opposite thing happens, like people.
Not yet. Yeah, continue.
And like also like what happens if the minority doesn't have experience? People choose their leader because they know they have the experience. They are they know they are reliable, like my team have said, and they know what the society wants. Because people choose like what is relatable to them, and like to strengthen the points of my team, people in Myanmar, like people are angry and separating because changing of government, and so this happened because of like they don't know what they the government, the new leader, new politics doesn't know what the people want, and so this caused the worst unity. And also like new government doesn't mean they can do better. What if they don't know how to deal with new issues? And then suddenly changing a new leader can cause a lot of new issues coming up, and they don't have better solution. So I mean, so like people who lead for a long time, they have experience and they know what's the best for their people and what their society wants. And also like the opposition keeps saying that the inclusivity and diversity is really important, but like inclusivity and diversity is not always the best. And what happens if if there's political change and they stunt the economic growth because they change the leader and they suddenly ignore what is already has been built, and yeah, they just stop everything. I think that's all.
Okay, alright. You alright?
There is such a perfect leader which he can rule the country in a very equal way, and people are prosperous. Give me an example. Which country are you mentioning? China is communist. They don't have any reason. SSR is also communist. Vladimir Lenin, Joseph Stalin.
Yeah.
Okay. To repeat your question, what happens if we know there's a program behind right now, and what happens if the president change and then the program stop? I mean, can we guarantee if the leader change, the program can still continue?
Yeah, but that's not my point. My point is there any country that have the leader as perfect as the president that you mentioned?
No, but I mean like not. Yes, we cannot guarantee the president is like good, but they know what's the best for their people because they live for a long time. And then we also cannot guarantee like changing the leader can be better, can be a better solution. Like what we have said before. Like what if it's stun the economy?
So if the leader already become a dictator, such as
Yeah, you can be one. Okay, next up will be fine.
you said that you can no big deal.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.